Hello there, darling. My name is Malika Lee. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of From the Heart. Blessings. Oh, I said that wrong. Blessings and life lessons. Short and sweet. I'm leaving. Oh, reflections. Whew. Reflections, blessings, and life lessons. I do this all in one take, so we're going to keep pushing. You see my humanity. And what I wanted to talk about very briefly is 9/11. First, I want to honor and acknowledge with just a brief moment of silence all of those who made their physical transition on that day in 2001, as well as all of those left behind, loved ones, those that were even on the rescue teams that may still in some ways be touched by that experience or having health issues, who knows, like all of them. I just want to acknowledge and pay my respect. Those watching it on TV, I was one of those. So the moment of silence will just be now. Yeah, to quote Charlemagne the God, I'm sending them and all of us and you watching right now some healing energy. Quoting Charlemagne the God, he always says that we're going to send them some healing energy. So I'm saying that, and I mean that. The reason for this video is that 9/11, 2001 really marked, it's like a milestone in my life, probably similar to what it was for a lot of people, as well as what COVID has done. You know, that kind of marks a collective life milestone for many of us, globally for COVID for sure. So 9/11 for me really launched me into what I didn't understand at the time. Oh, I think that was my first dark night of the soul. I never considered that or called it that. I called it my midlife crisis. And it was that too, for sure. I called it my midlife crisis. Now, if you're looking at me, and this is 20 years before now, right? You know that I was not midlife age when it happened. But what I mean by it sent me into my midlife crisis was that I was daily, multiple times a day, thinking about my own physical death. And that really caused me to make a lot of changes in my life, because we usually don't think about death. And sometimes when we do, we're afraid of it, right? But we always act like we have more time. We always act like it's not going to happen to us. You know, people will pass away, not have done their wills, or, you know, like any of the legalities of death that makes life easier for those that are left behind, at least in America. And so September 11th, 2001, I was working in corporate America. I had not been in corporate America very long, and I hated it. I hated it. The money was good. I couldn't even understand why I hated it as much as I did. Now I know that it wasn't the right place for me. I was living out someone else's unfulfilled dreams unconsciously, and being a people pleaser. But I hated it. And my plan had been that I was going to like pay my dues, stack up, you know, a lot of racks, let's say for 10 years, and then leave the job, being financially independent. So like having the side hustle, doing some real estate. I was reading all the Rich Dad Poor Dads, like, you know, being free. I associated or collapsed with financial freedom. Those are not one and the same. But anyway, and when 9/11 happened, I was just like, oh my God, what if I don't have 10 years? What if this is my last day? Would I want to be doing this? And I was very clear that the answer was no. But then when I would think about packing up my stuff in my cube and like walking away and never going back, then the logical mind would kick in and be like, well, what about my student loans? What about my car note? What about my apartment? Like, how am I going to pay for these things? So it was kind of this inner tug of war between not knowing what I wanted to do, like if it was my last day, what could it look like for me to be at peace? I had no idea what the answer was, but I knew what it wasn't. And that's the life that I had been living, like in that moment was definitely what it wasn't. And so it really lit a fire under my behind to begin to change my life. And so if we were to begin at the end in mind for you right now, like, would you have peace if this was your last day? Would you have peace with that? Or are there some people that come to mind that maybe there's some unfulfilled communication that you wouldn't have peace about? Like, I encourage you to do those things. Usually people don't have peace. It's going to be usually more relationship based and or purposeful, right? Like, oh, I didn't write that book, or I never went to Bermuda. Bermuda was calling my heart and I never followed that. And so I'm doing this video just as kind of a charge in honor of those that, crossed over. Their lives and experiences, of course, are not in vain. And to allow this to continually be a time to reassess our lives by looking through the lens of death. And, I'm not saying blow up your life as it is now, but if, you have a dream about going to Bermuda, like maybe you can start setting $10, $15 aside in that direction just for Bermuda. You know what I mean? So like there's such subtle, what we call 3-foot tosses, small steps that we can take in the here and now that are at least in the directional aim of those things. So maybe, the person that comes to mind that there's some unfulfilled communication, if that happened for you, maybe it's just writing a letter. You don't even have to mail it. Like, we won't even do that, but just writing a letter to get out. What are those thoughts, those feelings that are there for you? So I just wanted to put that out there because, I'm thinking about that again. It's like a tune-up 20 years later. How am I doing? Am I on course? Am I in alignment? Do I feel on purpose? Are there some things that I would regret? Right now in this moment, if this was my last day, I would say I think I left it on the field. And yet there are, of course, still some things that I want to do, but like that dissonance and that fear that I felt, 20 years ago, when I was so out of touch, I think, with what my purpose was, it's very different now. I have such peace most of the time and trust that I am now on my path. And I'm grateful for that time. I'm so grateful for it. Was like purgatory because it really like took me by the shoulders and shook me to help me wake up and not be complacent. So we only have this one life. And I just encourage you that the world is waiting for whatever gift that you're born for and that you have to offer. Like, we're waiting for it. We need you. We need all of us, you know what I mean? To not allow fear to keep us from our hopes, our dreams, our visions, our ideas, our gifts that we have the free will to offer or not. But take it for what it's worth. Many blessings. Thanks for watching. Please comment below on maybe some things you're already taking actions on, or some reflections of something you're like, you know what, this has come up for me that I need to deal with and address and reach out. And it could be somebody who's aging in your life and just developing a better relationship with them. That's also another thing when I do these reflections on from time to time that I do as well. All right, until the next time, much love. Many blessings. I want to say God bless, Allah bless, whatever, universe bless, whatever your term is, like, it's welcomed, and know that it continues to love on you and bless on you. And so do I. Bye.